Hey, Scorpio, Mal, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your November 2025 love reading. Now, this session is devoted entirely to self-love and inner work. Today, we are going to create a space to help you reconnect with your heart, to honor your growth, Scorpio, and how far you have come on your journey. We'll dive into nurturing the relationship that you have with yourself, no matter what season of life you find yourself in, whether you are in the midst of healing, perhaps you are rebuilding, expanding, or even remembering who you are. This session is your invitation to return home to you, to trust that everything you've walked through has been shaping you for this next chapter. So let's dive in here and take a look at the current energy surrounding the relationship you have with yourself. We have the Two of Swords. So there may be this mental battle going on within you. A bit of self-criticism on one hand and perhaps a bit of self-acceptance on the other. So there's a bit of a tug of war going on where you want growth, but at the same time, you may be a little bit hard on yourself, Scorpio. And I see that you are working on your self-worth here. I feel like you are coming into awareness where you're recognizing patterns that perhaps in the past you have refused to see, or you may not have had all of the information or knowledge or understanding in how to reach in and take a look at some of those inner wounds and how to rewrite the old stories. So this tells me that through the back and forth, you are leaning into growth here and you're emerging within this new sense of empowerment where you're starting to see the silver lining. You're starting to set boundaries here, speak your truth, and choose to interrupt some of those patterns that have been replaying out. Now, you may have gone back and forth here within a relationship and you may have had a difficult time understanding or even trusting in yourself to choose what was in your highest good, because sometimes emotions get entangled and then the mental mind can start replaying out stories or even telling us stories that are based in illusions. So I feel like you are wanting to lean into clarity here. And even if you feel like the head and the heart are at an opposition here, there's still this empowering energy that I see here showing up in your reading. So let's dive into some of the inner wounds. Let's look at the hidden wounds or aspects of yourself that perhaps you've been neglecting or even judging that may need a little bit more compassion. You have here the Four of Pentacles. Now, Scorpio, the Four of Pentacles is about opening up. You may keep people at arm's length until you are fully able to trust them. This is also about opening the heart space where when we have gone through relationship patterns or struggles or challenges or heartbreak or loss, we tend to throw up walls. We tend to put on an armor. And for many of you, the hidden wound has to do with you opening your heart and seeing that not only are you worthy of love, you have everything within you to be able to attract it. But because we're looking at wounds here, some of you may have had a wound around abandonment. Perhaps there's been rejection here and even bullying with this Four of Pentacles. Someone may have withheld affection or love was conditional in some way, meaning you only were able to receive love if you acted or behaved in a certain manner. And this has really hit home for you in a way that has affected your own self-worth, your body image. It may have even been the core of some emotional suppression here where you had either suppressed your emotions, you didn't speak up about them, right? You kept them all buried within the body. Some of you may have even ate through those emotions. You use food to kind of nurture or comfort you in some way, or you may have even kept to yourself in some way where you didn't really open up. You didn't want to speak to your maybe therapist or your friends or your family about what was truly going on here because of these inner wounds. And I see that you are really working on releasing energies around shame or guilt or even some inner child energies that may have come up around not being good enough. You are absolutely good enough. Not only that, you are worthy of love. You don't have to prove yourself. So let's look at some of those old stories. Let's look at the old wounds that you are being asked to release. You have here the Four of Swords. So we have more mental energy coming in with the Swords realm, which is about rebuilding our inner dialogue, how we speak to ourselves, taking a look at the mental patterns, becoming aware of what those patterns are so we can choose to consciously interrupt them. This is also about self-criticism, and that was one of the first messages that came up for you is you're feeling a bit of tug of war between that criticism and self-judgment versus acceptance here. You want to grow, but you may fall back into old default patterns, default modes, and this is how you can truly reach into the core here and start rewriting that story. So when this shows up, perhaps the story of yours is, love must be earned. As I mentioned, you have to act or behave a certain way in order to receive that love. But love should be freely given unconditionally here. And of course, there are healthy boundaries that come into place when it comes to love, but you don't have to earn love or be needed or wanted to feel that reciprocity here. This is also an energy of the mind saying, if I show how I truly feel, or if I speak my inner voice, I will be shut down. I will be rejected. So some of you may have been made to feel small or silenced. And it may have caused you to really get up in your head and obsess about energies. I'm also getting a jealous energy or perhaps comparison with this Four of Wands. But the story here is you don't have to constantly live in fight or flight. You don't have to live in survival mode. Now, for many of you, you are using somatic tools to recenter, rebalance your nervous system. And what does that mean? It means that you may be leaning into breath work. You may be getting in touch with your inner dialogue here, speaking to yourself with compassion and kindness. And we'll take a look here at, the ways that you can nurture yourself more here in just a moment. But because these are old stories that have played out, the Four of Wands is saying that mind of yours, that beautiful mind, deserves to rest. And there has been perhaps an ignoring, like a refusal at times to pay attention to what your body needs, because our body often gives us signs before our mind can comprehend what's going on. Because the mind can be loud, it can be active with old stories, but the body is our biggest indicator. Notice the cues that your body is giving you, especially when you are around other people. Do you shrink? Do you start to feel nervous in your stomach? Take a look at the feelings, the emotions that arise, and then the area of your body as well. So dropping more into your body, getting in touch with who you are, because sometimes that mind is so loud that causes us to not fully see what is right in front of us or what needs to be addressed. So I see some of the old stories also include, my needs don't matter, or I have to look a certain way in order to be accepted, or I have to behave in a certain way to be accepted, or have to stay strong, right? I can't show weakness. Or a story of yours could also be it's too late to change, or it's too late to start over. Those are all stories that encapsulate us within our minds. So Scorpio, just breathe, come back to center, right? Find your center here and try not to let that monkey mind get the best of you. Let's look at what strengths. I love this part of the reading because we all have strengths and sometimes we don't often see what those strengths are, especially when that Two of Swords is pulling us in different directions. But what strengths or qualities within you are ready to be celebrated? You have the Eight of Wands. This is success. You absolutely should celebrate your growth because you've come a long way. And even though at times there's that tug of war, that inner voice of yours, if you silence or quiet the fear, your inner voice, you're able to hear. You're able to listen to. So the Eight of Wands tells me that you have built up this resiliency. You have chosen to rise after hardship. You are tuning in to your inner truth, your authenticity. You're living a life where not only are you courageous by having the openness and the willingness to grow, to heal, and to reflect, and maybe even take a look at things from different points of view, different angles. You don't have to live in denial. And I see that you are choosing to communicate better. Some of you are even looking at your attachment styles or your communication style here, and you are working on that. You're working on creating a compassionate self-dialogue like you would speak to a friend, like you would speak to your pet, like you would connect to a baby, right? You're treating yourself with that tender, loving care. And I see that your greatest strength here is to trust your inner wisdom and use your intuition and your creativity to lean into the life that you want for yourself, to lean into the type of relationships that you want for yourself. Because many of you may have grown immensely when it comes to your emotional intelligence, which means that the sensitivities that were once a burden, those gifts of yours that you felt like were burdens, have become your greatest strengths, Scorpio. So let's look at how you can better nurture your emotional and spiritual needs at this time. You have the Seven of Pentacles here. So the Seven of Pentacles is connecting with your body. It's also through patience, right? It's through that inner growth that we talked about, that willingness to grow, to heal, and to offer up space in your life to reflect. Think of the Hermit in tarot. It is important to gain that rest and gain that solitude. So this is regardless of relationship status, right? It is important to reflect and to meditate, to get out in nature, to connect with the animals, connect with Mother Gaia, eat more whole foods, and to set boundaries here for yourself that include saying no without guilt. And that can be a difficult one when we are communicating. Oftentimes we say yes when we really mean no. You are being guided to protect your energy, protect your peace, and allow yourself to reconnect to your body, especially if body image or you have used food or you have used substances or anything else that has created perhaps a physical ailment in some way within the body. I see that you're addressing this and you are leaning into physical activities that bring more mindfulness, that bring more energy and motivation into your world. Maybe this is through dancing or it could be through yoga. Perhaps some of you are enjoying getting outside and going hiking. I see that not only are you doing that inner work, right? Maybe even doing some journaling, going to therapy. You could be doing breath work or grounding rituals. You're also treating your body kindly, or at least that is the message here of how to better nurture your emotional and spiritual needs is creating this internal environment that you don't have to feel like you're in fight or flight. You don't have to obsess about or feel like you are constantly stuck in your mind. Like, what do I do? Can I trust myself? The answer is yes. You are safe to be seen. You are loved, Scorpio, as you are. You are whole. You are already enough. And I feel for many of you, You've been working on forgiveness, forgiving yourself for what you did not know, and remembering that your sensitivity is your strength. So I want you to remind yourself that love begins here and now because you are more than enough. You are lovable and you are capable. So even if it feels like you've been waiting, right? Waiting, become your own best friend, your own soulmate, your own lover right here, right now, if you are wanting to attract that in your outer world. All right, your chakra for the month is the heart chakra. This is around love, right? Compassion and forgiveness. This is where self-love blossoms. Forgiving you, as I've mentioned, releasing judgments and embracing the beauty of who you are with openness and tenderness. So leaning into the heart chakra. That is going to be medicine to your inner wounds. And lastly here, Scorpio, you have confidence here showing up. This is a message from your higher self. It says confidence, it comes with time and practice. That's the 7 of Pentacles. And it's number 23. Now, some of you may be born on the 23rd. It seems like everywhere around you, people are chattering about how confident they are and just how freeing it feels. You wish you could relate to them, but you haven't gotten there yet. Listen, it's all right. Confidence is not an instant or an overnight evolution. Just like with everything else, it takes time, practice, and a lot of unlearning of toxicity. That is what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope this resonates or you were able to take a nugget of information away from this reading today. And if so, please give it a thumbs up. It certainly helps the channel. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you know another Scorpio or someone who has Scorpio placements, feel free to send this to them because this is more than just the YouTube algorithm. It's the spiritual algorithm. So we can spread these ripples of love. And so we can embrace in this inner dialogue, this inner self-healing that is crucial to the world. So again, please hit that thumbs up. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find that information in the description box below or by visiting intuitivesoulcoach.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, Scorpio.